From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Alia Batul. No Kings protests erupted across the United States and abroad. Thousands rally against Trump's authoritarian overreach. This and more in today's show. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has ordered Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, to escalate raids in Democratic-run cities. In a post on social media, Trump said the goal is to launch the largest mass deportation program in history. He singled out cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, calling them strongholds of illegal immigration and democratic power centers. He urged ICE, Border Patrol, and other law enforcement to focus on crime-ridden inner cities and places with sanctuary policies. Trump's move comes amid ongoing No Kings protests against his immigration crackdown this weekend. Massive No Kings protests swept across the U.S. and abroad on Saturday, targeting President Donald Trump and Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, or ICE. The demonstrations came in response to Trump's $45 million taxpayer-funded military parade celebrating his birthday the same day. In Los Angeles, thousands marched, blocked highways, and faced National Guard deployment. Protesters chanted "No Kings" and denounced what they called Trump's authoritarian overreach. In downtown Chicago, crowds filled Daley Plaza, waving placards and marching through the city. Detroit also saw a large turnout too, with activists marching from Clark Park to a federal building, opposing ICE raids and expressing solidarity with LA. In New York City, demonstrators packed Washington Square Park, protesting Trump's planned military parade, calling it a symbol of authoritarianism. From the streets of New Orleans to small towns nationwide, nearly 2,000 protests took place in all 50 states. The American Civil Liberties Union and other rights groups organized the movement at 2,000 locations, which also saw rallies in the UK, Germany, and Mexico. Most protests were peaceful, but violence flared in Utah, where one protester was shot dead. In Virginia, a man drove into a crowd in Culpeper, injuring a demonstrator. Police arrested 21-year-old Joseph Cheklik Jr. in connection with the attack. President Donald Trump marked his 79th birthday with a massive military parade in Washington, D.C. The event also celebrated 250 years of the U.S. Armed Forces. Trump, First Lady Melania, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth watched from a special platform at the White House. Over 6,000 troops, 128 tanks, and military jets filled Constitution Avenue. Parachutists wowed the crowd near the Washington Monument. Critics slammed the $45 million price tag and called it authoritarian-style pageantry. Across the country on the same day, millions of Americans protested Trump's domestic and foreign policies. Trump gave a short speech praising the military and received a ceremonial flag. The parade ended with fireworks and Lee Greenwood's song, "God Bless the USA." Observers say the event was both a show of might and a flashpoint of dissent. On Saturday, New York's Shamberg Center for Research in Black Culture celebrated its 100th anniversary. The historic institution was founded during the Harlem Renaissance between 1918 and the 1930s. It is one of the largest archives of Black culture in the world, preserving and housing over 11 million items, including rare books, art, films, and recordings from across the Black diaspora. Founded by Afro-Latino historian Arturo Shamberg, it was established to prove that Black people had a rich and worthy history. Saturday's commemorative street festival in Harlem combined the Black Comic Book Festival and the Shamberg Literary Festival. It featured music, cosplay, children's story time, panel talks, and workshops. The center's centennial exhibit features more than 100 objects. 57-year-old Vance Luther Bolter is accused of killing State Representative Melissa Hortman and wounding State Senator John Hoffman on Saturday. Police are describing his violence as a targeted shooting, as authorities revealed that Bolter had a hit list with names of dozens of prominent Democrats in his car. Observers say the motive appears deeply political and ideologically driven. Among the other targets include Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, and Attorney General Keith Ellison. Both of the victims from Saturday's shooting were also on the list, and sources say abortion providers and pro-choice activists were also named. Senator Amy Klobuchar is urging all Americans to recognize the human cost of political violence. Security has now been stepped up for all names on the list. Capitol Police are coordinating protections with local and federal agencies, stepping up security for all names on the list. The GOP's backed One Big Beautiful Bill Act could put Medicaid coverage for nearly 11 million Americans at risk. It has already passed the House and is currently in the Senate. The Congressional Budget Office warns that 8 million people could lose Medicaid if the bill is passed, including 5.2 million due to new work requirements for able-bodied adults. The GOP claims that these are not cuts, but reforms to end fraud and protect the program for the truly needy. As well, the bill targets immigrants who have no legal status, with 1.4 million expected to lose coverage. Healthcare advocates and Democrats are warning that if passed, the proposed legislation will reverse years of progress in reducing the number of uninsured people in the U.S. The Kaiser Family Foundation estimates that there will be $793 billion in Medicaid cuts under the GOP's proposal. Missiles strike Tehran and Tel Aviv, over 240 dead as Iran-Israel war escalates. Evacuations ordered, world leaders urge restraint. This and more coming up next. Israeli shelling killed 48 Palestinians across Gaza on Monday. Over 30 were shot while waiting for food aid in central and southern Gaza, according to Gaza's health ministry. Civil defense said the shooting occurred near Rafah's Al-Alam roundabout as crowds awaited aid. More than 200 were injured, 50 critically. Another Israeli strike on a house in central Gaza killed 11 and wounded 35. Al-Oda Hospital confirmed receiving the bodies. Since May 27th, over 300 Palestinians have reportedly been killed and 2,649 injured at food distribution points. 9 remain missing. Telecom services collapsed again in southern Gaza amid ongoing Israeli bombardment. Doctors Without Borders urged the EU to pressure Israel to stop what it calls the Gaza carnage. Meanwhile, a Tunisian aid caravan heading for Gaza has been blocked in the Libyan region controlled by Egyptian-backed rebels, with 13 participants detained. Israel has killed over 64,000 Palestinians since the start of its genocide in Gaza in October 2023, according to a report published in January by the British medical journal The Lancet. Palestinian officials say more than 126,000 have been wounded in the same time period. Israel faces war crime charges at the International Criminal Court and a genocide case at the International Court of Justice. The Iran-Israel missile war raged into its 4th day on Monday. Explosions rocked Iran's capital Tehran as Israel warned residents of more strikes. The death toll from Israel's attack on Iran has risen to more than 220, including 70 women and children. In retaliatory strikes, Iranian missiles killed 8 Israelis early Monday morning, 1 still missing. Israeli emergency services report 21 dead, 631 wounded in the past 4 days. The Israeli army claims it has destroyed a third of Iran's missile launchers. Dozens of Israeli jets also struck missile depots in the city of Isfahan. Iran hit many parts of Israel, including the capital Tel Aviv and a port city of Haifa, where a power plant was partially damaged. Iran reported the deaths of 6 Revolutionary Guards and 2 paramilitary fighters. Earlier, 3 IRGC generals, including the intelligence chief, were also killed. Both countries issued evacuation alerts. Israel warned Tehran's diplomatic zone, and Iran urging Tel Aviv civilians to flee. Meanwhile, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Russian President Vladimir Putin discussed the crisis, with Turkey warning of regional fallout. UN inspectors confirmed no damage to Iran's nuclear sites. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian has also called for national unity, vowing to resist Israeli aggression and honor the dead with resolve. A massive crowd of 150,000 marched through The Hague on Sunday, demanding an immediate halt to European arms exports to Israel. Dressed in red, protesters passed the International Court of Justice, accusing the Dutch government of complicity in Israel's genocide in Gaza. Organizers called it the largest protest in Dutch history, urging unrestricted humanitarian aid and tougher action against Israel. The demonstration comes amid Israel's intensifying military strikes in Gaza Yemen, and the West Bank. Rising tensions with Iran have also raised fears of wider conflict. An Australian man says he was deported from the US for supporting Free-Palestinian student protests. Alistair Kitchen was en route to New York when he was detained during a stop in Los Angeles. US border officials questioned him for 12 hours about his political writings. Kitchen said officials cited his blog posts on Columbia University protests as the reason for his removal. He had criticized the arrest of student activist Mahmoud Khalil, who remained in US detention. Researchers in Singapore have created what is being called a new sweating paint that cools buildings without using electricity. They say this low-energy solution could help buildings stay cool globally, especially in heat-prone areas like the Middle East. Developed by Nanyang Technological University scientists, the cement-based paint reflects sunlight, emits heat, and like sweat, slowly releases water to cool surfaces. In tests, homes painted with this formula use 30 to 40% less air conditioning. Even after years of sun and rain, the paint stays white and reflective. Scientists say the paint reduces the urban heat island effect, making cities cooler. Despite political criticism of the hijab and burqa in Western countries, observers say modest fashion is on the rise across the world. Experts say that looser clothing styles with long sleeves and high necklines are becoming mainstream. Analysts note that the trend is fueled by Muslim consumers, social media influencers, and luxury brands. In the UK, some politicians have called into questioning Muslim women wearing face coverings. France has banned the abaya, a long, loose robe, in schools, and it has proposed hijab restrictions for young women under the age of 15. Yet demand continues to grow for modest Muslim fashion. Experts say that by 2030, 30% of the world's youth will be Muslim, boosting the Muslim modest fashion trend. Luxury brands and fast fashion labels like M&S and H&M are already tapping into this market. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.